guys probably know in the book of Luke, some of the opening stories take place in the temple. Zacharias in the temple and hears the word of the Lord, but is not being faithful. And then a young girl named Mary, as well, hears a word from the angel Gabriel. And the angel Gabriel comes and says, "The favor of the Lord is upon you." Now, you do realize that you need to define the favor of the Lord, not based upon an American prosperity gospel, but one in the first century. The favor of the Lord being upon you is this, Mary: you will give birth to the Messiah, and for the rest of your life, you will be shamed because of that. I don't know about you, if she had probably known that in advance, she might give it a second thought. But she does not hesitate for a moment. Here is her prayer: "May it be to me according to your word." That's my prayer for all of us today. As you hear the word, not my words, the word, as you hear the word, I pray that you would simply say, "May it be to me according to your word." And then you can kind of ask the Lord, "I really don't even know what I'm agreeing to yet, but I say yes." Father, speak. Your servants are listening. Amen. It was the year 2015. We may not remember it, but Angie and I remember it well. In New Brunswick, Canada, we got 16 feet of snow. The temperature never got above 32, which meant it never melted. 16 feet of snow. That's Angie as we were walking down to school that day. And you will notice that what's so wonderful about New Brunswick is you may get 16 feet of snow, but they actually have these wonderful, nice little tools that go along and clean off your sidewalks. And no, they're not called shovels. They're automated. This is our front lawn in January of 2015. It had not yet snowed 16 feet. That's what it looked like. So that day I went to Angie and I said, "Angie, would you like to go on a cruise to the Caribbean?" She said yes. And my wife never even prayed for a moment. So we found ourselves on a beautiful boat leaving from Cape Canaveral, kind of went from island to island. The last stop was a place called Cozumel. I hadn't been there before, but I understood that there was shopping. So I bought a wallet, and as we got ready to disembark from the ship, I realized it might be important to have a map of Cozumel, right? So I take a look at the map, and I have a sense of spiritual arrogance when it comes to internal GPSs. If I know which way is north, I never get lost. Oh, that's very important. Never to say never. I never get lost. So I took a look at this map, and I realized what was the major road going north-south. I found it. I cast the map aside, grabbed Angie, and I said, "Let's go shopping." As we were walking down the gangplank, I looked on a steward's cart right as we were going down, and there was an extra set of maps. And I grabbed one just in case. I folded it up, put it in my pocket. We were walking around Cozumel, and Angie said that she had heard on the boat from one of the people that there was a nice jewelry store there. "Dave, could you get me to the jewelry store?" She told me what the address was. I took out my map and I looked, and it was on Main Street, and I said, "Sure, Main Street's right over here. We go up one block and turn to the right." We went one block and turned to the right, and there was no jewelry store. Angie looked at me and she said, "Are you lost?" "No, dear, I must have just gotten turned around. It's not one block over, one up. It's one block over to the left." So we made a little course correction and got over there, and I realized there was no jewelry store there either. I was lost. I took out the map and looked at it again. The only problem was we were in Cozumel, and in the upper right-hand corner of the map it said San Juan, Puerto Rico. That was the map for the next day. If you are a pastor of your church, that story's not so funny. Because you pastor a flock of people that are actually being calibrated by the wrong cause. You do realize, don't you, that the average American house has a TV on for 5.1 hours every day. You're trying on a Sunday morning to help people recalibrate their compass according to Jesus and the Word, and that may be the only time that week they've ever heard it. But they have heard Hollywood, they have heard Twitter, they have heard Facebook, they've had their compasses all week long calibrated by wrong, true north. And I'm here to beg you to sound like the Apostle Paul, to beseech you to find a way to help people to read and interpret and apply the Word. It is the only way their lives are going to be recalibrated according to true north, which is Jesus Himself. I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say that, but we need to find a way to make discipleship by the reading of the Word paramount in everyone's life. And I'm not asking you to go back to your church and tell people, take that TV and throw it in the backyard. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, can you give Jesus a chance? Especially in a time like this, Lent. Can you give Jesus any kind of chance to speak into your life? And to make that a lifetime principle. Not something you just do for 40 days before Easter, not including Sunday. But I mean, you make it a part of your life that you will invest in the Word. So I told you my apology to her, that I'm sorry that I just taught my students how to read the Scriptures and didn't teach my students how to teach people to read the Scriptures. But that is what's vital as a call to you as pastors in local churches, to teach people how to read, interpret, and apply. And I don't mean just read because they take that word out and read it, but I mean read it and really interpret it. I mentioned to you, I've changed my classes. That's a primary focus. I want to create teacher pastors, not just a good reader of Scripture. I don't want you to be the most intelligent person in the church when it comes to the Word. I don't want you to impress them with your ability to interpret. I want you to teach them that they can do that as well. When we began on Monday, I kind of took you into a place where Jesus clearly says He insists on the study of the Word as being a basic tool of evangelism. Not optional. Not if you really want to be a super Christian. Everybody should read, interpret, and apply the Scriptures. If you remember, we looked at a couple of passages, one of them taking place, of course, in the Great Commission, where Jesus says, all authority has been given to me by the Father. Now go and make disciples of all nations, teaching them to obey all things I have taught you. In other words, you are now a possessor of this truth. Your call as a pastor is to give it to other people, to teach them to obey it. You remember we walked through a passage in Matthew chapter 13. Hear then the parable of the sower. Now he's not talking about just hearing, but hear Jesus now interpret the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches it away. If we don't teach people how to read and understand it, the evil one's just going to snatch it away. And they will buy into whatever else disciples them, which is the 5.1 hours a day they watch TV. Everybody in church is being discipled. Just tell me, who is their teacher? And then this is the one on whom the seed is sown beside the road. Listen to the ending of this. Then the one on whom the seed is sown on the good soil, this is it's not a male. This is the one, the person who hears the word and understands it and then bears fruit. Not you, the people whom you teach. And then, my son, be strong in the grace of the Lord Jesus. You may think this is only Jesus that teaches this way. This is the Apostle Paul now teaching his young disciple Timothy the very same thing. And these things you've heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. That's our job. Our job is not just to do discipleship, but is to make disciples who in turn make disciples. I always say to my students, you are not a discipler because you have somebody you're discipling. You don't become a discipler until they become a discipler. You actually teach them to replicate themselves. That's when you know you've actually been an effective disciple. Do you remember the passage in Luke chapter 10? It's called the parable of the Good Samaritan. My guess is you've preached on it multiple times. Would you mind turning your Bibles to Luke chapter 10? Whether you have a paper one, electronic one, or maybe you'd be like somebody in the first century who might actually have the word memorized. Just kind of call it to recollection. You realize that was what reading was like in the first century. Most people weren't illiterate, but please do not tell me they were uninformed. You may not be able to read, but you can actually memorize entire books. That was not unusual. So when you say someone in the first century is illiterate, that does not mean they do not have access to the Bible. They do, just not the same way you do. They would probably have the entire book memorized. So if I would say to turn to Luke chapter 10, they would just think Luke 10. So maybe we're the ones that are uninformed. And they are incredibly informed. Listen to this word. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to, I love this word, to test Jesus. You do realize the word for test and tempt is the same word in Greek. This man, this teacher of the law, was actually acting in the very same way the equal one does. So you see the connection between this and the parable of the sower. The teacher of the law comes to test Jesus and says this, teacher, rabbi, and just for a little information, there's a common title attributed to Jesus in the Gospels. It's not Messiah. It's not Lord. It's teacher. That's who he's called. Teacher, he asks, what must I do to inherit eternal life? Which is not that unusual a question that you may get in ministry. They're asking you that one way or another. What must I do? Listen to the way Jesus wonderfully words his response. Whoops, went too far. Maybe I didn't even put it in here. I did. So this is Jesus' question. He asked the teacher of the law, what is in the law? That's question number one. What's the contents of the law? But the second is the interpretation question. How do you read it? That's what Jesus asks all of us, not just the teachers of the law. He's not asking you a question so that you can do well on a Bible trivia test. He's not impressed with how much of the Bible you have memorized. He wants to know whether it's actually being embodied and lived out in the community. So what is in the law, contents, and how do you read it? How about if I ask it this way? This is the way it's literally written in Greek. What is written in the law? It's a perfect tense verb. You know that from taking Greek in seminary? How is it written and how does it continue to be written? And how are you present tense currently reading? That's the question Jesus is asking. And he's got a pretty good answer. He says this, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, and with all your strength, and all your mind. He is reciting there from memory Deuteronomy chapter 6. And you will love your neighbor as yourself. He's taking Deuteronomy 6 and Leviticus 19 and putting them together as the summation of the 5 books of the Pentateuch. He is a good theologian. You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. But, oh, this man just shut up. But, wanting to justify himself, this is a wonderful word as well. Dikaios, you probably know this, wanting to, we don't even have an English way to say this, to righteousize himself. That's what he wants to do. You get your car modicized, he wants his body righteousized. And he says, by the way, who is my neighbor? Don't forget, he's testing Jesus. You know the parable, don't you? There are three people being described as walking by somebody that has been brutalized and left for dead. We don't need to go through the theology of whether or not the Levite and the priest are actually, they don't want to touch him, because if they do, they'll become unclean, then they won't be able to go and worship. Don't forget, they're not going to worship, they're coming from worship. Jesus is what he's actually doing. He's helping us interpret a story. You might think this is the story about the teacher of the law, but he's turning you into a great disciple maker, because you're having people come to you on a regular basis asking you this question: can you tell me if God is at work in my life or not? I'm 39 years with cancer. What have I done to deserve this? You are helping people interpret where God is at work in their life. So your job as a pastor is not just to teach them how to interpret written text. Your job is more. Can I give you a really interesting Hebrew word? It's the word mikra. And the word for mikra is really the word for the scriptures. The word, the text that you have in front of you. The First Testament. I was so thankful that Joy last night did not call it the Old Testament. She called it the First Testament. Would you also like to know what the word kara, which is the verb form that comes from this, what it really means? It really means the voice, the calling. When you're reading the Bible, it is the voice of God coming into the midst of the community. That's what Jesus is doing here. He is interpreting the voice of God through the law, being spoken into the community and shaping it to be like the Creator God. And the man has the right answers. I mean, he has passed all of his theology tests. So if you're moving towards ordination, this teacher of the law, he has passed all the academic requirements. But he's not living into it. He's not living it out. So Jesus, instead of correcting his theology, just simply tells him a story. And if you notice, when he comes to the end of the story is really quite unique. Which of these three do you think proved to be the neighbor to the man? He doesn't ask the question, who is the neighbor? He asks the question, who is living out a neighborly existence in the midst of a broken world? And the irony of all ironies is the very same thing that Luigi preached the other day. It's about the other. The other. Luke is a unique gospel. Because don't forget, if you're reading Matthew, you'll find two times, Matthew 10 and Matthew 15, Jesus very clearly says to his disciples, go only to the lost sheep of Israel. It's not until after the death and resurrection of Jesus that they're coming in now to go to all nations. Luke begins early on. Luke's first sermon, as Luigi preached in Luke chapter 4, is about God coming to be with the others as much as the chosen ones. And the same thing is true here. He's laying out this story as he's asking the teacher of Israel, what is the core of the teachings of the Bible? Love God and love your neighbor. But then he says, define for me the limits of my love. Jesus, in all four Gospels, fails miserably. That's always a hard thing to say about Jesus. Fails miserably in helping us understand that love is to be limitless. Not that he teaches badly, we just are bad students. And so in the midst of his failure, he decides to teach them differently. John chapter 13, you know this passage where Jesus takes off his outer garments, puts on a towel, gets down, and listen to these words. He's about to display for them the full extent of his love. And he washes their feet. Now, he doesn't wash the feet of outsiders, but he does wash the feet of Peter, who will deny him, and Judas, who will betray him. Well, these are insiders that are really outsiders. And then he puts on his clothes and he says, do you understand what I have done? And our answer should probably be absolutely not. Where did Jesus learn to love that way? Ready? 3 times in John's Gospel, Jesus says these things to his disciples. I only do what I have seen my Father do. So, here's my question to you. Where did Jesus learn foot washing? In heaven. If you are preparing people for heaven, you better teach them to be good servants in the here and now, because they're going to be doing it for the rest of their life. You may have a hierarchical view of the Godhead. God the Father is in charge. Jesus is the obedient Son. But at least Jesus can then tell the Holy Spirit where to go. That's a really bad theology. Heaven looks this way. It is the ongoing mutual submission of the Godhead to one another. Mutual submission of the Godhead. Where they are serving one another. Am I making sense? And so here's what happens. Can I tie in the sermon from last night? As Joy was preaching, I was just saying out loud, thank you, both for the words today, but how's it going to connect with what I'm going to say tomorrow? Because the Godhead looks this way. The Father is serving the Son, who's serving the Spirit, who's serving the Father, serving the Son, serving the Spirit. The early church tried desperately to find a way to describe that. Is it okay if I describe a Greek word to you? Parachoresis. You probably learned that word at seminary, didn't you? The parachoretic relationship of the Father to the Son to the Holy Spirit. It is the divine dance that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in perfect harmony together. I guess as pastors, you work towards focusing on 2 principal holidays in the church. And no, one of them is not Mother's Day. 2 principal holidays. Christmas and Easter. Would it be okay if I told you you probably are missing the most important event in the history of the church? Because it's not Christmas, it's not Easter, it's actually Pentecost. Where the Holy Spirit comes down and invites us into the divine dance. But, as Joy said last night, He gets to lead. He's asking you to teach people in your church what heaven is actually looking like. And they want to know from Revelation 20, 21, and 22. But our passage is show them Jesus. That's what heaven looks like. And the only way you can do that is by teaching them how to read the Word, to interpret it, and then as Jesus says to this teacher, you've also got to embody it. So let me close with just a couple of simple statements. We must do this in what I would call a Wesleyan way. We must. You heard the term the means of grace, John Wesley's 5 means of grace. Let me just give these to you rather quickly. Prayer, fasting, Lord's Supper. But the last two, I think, are key to how we can do this. Number one is the searching of Scriptures. John Wesley did never assume searching of Scriptures as just reading them. Searching of Scriptures is actually doing three things: reading, interpreting, and then living it out in community. That's what he means by the searching of Scriptures. And how do we do this? He said we do this by getting together in class meetings and/or bands, where we hold each other accountable. You've probably been a part of the small group that takes place in many evangelical churches these days. Here is the small group Bible study. Somebody reads the passage, and then you go around in a circle. What did that passage mean to you? What did that passage mean to you? Have you been in that Bible study? Have you led that Bible study? Don't ever do that again. Because I do not care what you think the text means. I really don't. I want to know what Mark meant, what Matthew meant, what Paul meant. Your opinion means nothing. It's the authoritative Word of God that matters. So I'm on a Bible study. Get rid of it right now. Dissolve it. Because public opinion and voting does not matter in the kingdom of God. All right. You then get together in a small group and you must. Have I emphasized that enough this week? You must teach people how to interpret Scriptures. Now, I apologize to you that I have failed miserably as a professor for 20 years. I am repenting. So before you stands a couple of things. One is kind of a one-page summary of what True North is. It's a ministry that Angie and I have set up to go into local churches and teach people in local churches, teach the leadership in the local church how to teach people to read Scripture. I don't teach them. You do. It is a local church responsibility to teach people how to read Scriptures. And then I've got a cute little handout. A student in my class said, "Oh, this is like a Bible reading cheat sheet." That's not a good term to use. It's not a cheat sheet. It's a guide on how you can actually teach people how to read, interpret, and apply Scripture. Those are there. Those are for you. Let me just close with this very simple statement. Angie and I made a decision. It was between the last time we were here for Order of Flame, and a number of people knew I was transitioning out of leadership at a dean level and into teaching. They kind of kept asking me again, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't. We are asking God, and I don't know." He began planting the seed in me. Because this is the way I've always introduced myself. I've always introduced myself as a dean or as a pastor masquerading as a dean. Well, I'm getting rid of that. I'm just going to be a pastor. Just forget it. I'm going to be a pastor. And I want to go into local churches and teach the leadership in local churches how to teach their people how to read Scripture. So that's what we ended up doing. So really, what I ended up doing was saying, "Lord, I'm just going to quit my job." Angie was not too happy with that, so I used a different term. I'm going to retire and just go into local churches and teach people how to read. But I had two people tell me, "You really can't do that as an individual. In the Bible, people are sent to do their calling. They just don't work as individuals, they are sent." And it was really interesting. The pastor of our church said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring you on staff and then send you out." And the greatest success we can have as a local church is you're never in our church on Sunday night. Now, my guess is your DS or bishop will not allow that to happen. But mine did. And then Indiana Wesleyan said, "Wait a minute. You seem to be teaching in the local church what we want taught in the classroom. So how about if you come back to Indiana Wesleyan and you teach part-time, and the other half of your salary will be used to send you out to go into local churches and teach. Oh, it was really cool. This is not kingdom stuff or what? He said, I was planning on doing this for nothing. Two people paying me to do what I've never done. That won't go well. So here's what I'm saying. You might ask the question, this is probably too expensive. No, it's not. I've got 2 people sending me out to do this. So what does it cost a local church to have this happen? Nothing. All I ask is if you get me there and feed me, if you could feed me as well as we've been eating here, that would be great. But if you get me to your church, I will teach you how to teach people how to read Scripture, how to set up bands and class meetings to be able to disciple one another. So this Bible study will never happen again. And what people begin to do is submit to the Word of God before they even know what it means. That's what I mean by churches recalibrating their spiritual compass according to the truth. How? What is in the law? And how do you read that? Jesus asked that question. And every single small group should be asking the same thing. And if you really want to know where discipleship really takes place, it takes place as you send them out after that small group. They go back to their families, back to their communities, and they live according to the word of the Lord and the power of the Spirit. Would you hold your hands out like this? Father, may it be to us according to your word. Amen.